Hi, I'm Jack Baruzzini, and you're listening to The Secret to Stargate, where I talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jack.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Jack.
Today we are discussing the 15th episode of Season 6, Paradise Lost. Jack O'Neil is approached by Maybourne, a former NID operative known for his illicit activities, who reveals that he knows about Frank Simmons' attempt to steal the Prometheus. Maybourne claims that Simmons sought weapons on a planet whose Stargate address he possesses. SG-1 activates the portal and visits the planet P5X-777, discovering ancient inscriptions from the Furlings, who we unfortunately don't get to see here. One of the four great races. Unable to unlock the cache of weapons, they reluctantly collaborate with Maybourne, who has the key and combination from an ancient scroll to unlock the portal. Maybourne, however, has ulterior motives and stuns Carter and escapes through the portal, pursued by O'Neil. Jack and Maybourne find themselves stranded in a strange place. Maybourne explains to Jack that the scroll is an invitation from an alien race who had created a secluded utopia and that he wants to live there. It soon becomes clear that the place has been deserted for a long time and they are forced to scratch a meager living off the land. Meanwhile, Carter leads the team, working to find and rescue Jack, but has to deal with the specialists who don't take her command seriously. Jack and Maybourne find Goa'uld remains, and Maybourne eats a mysterious plant that starts affecting his sanity, even more than it's already affected. After Maybourne goes full Rambo, O'Neil manages to track him down and subdue him long enough for the effects of the plant to wear off. They theorize that the plant was brought by the Goa'uld to control the population, but that plan backfired. Sam realizes, a little bit too late, that Jack and Maybourne have been transported to the planet's moon, and the Tok'ra rescue them. In the end, Jack plans to ensure that Maybourne has a retirement on a peaceful planet. There we go. What are your thoughts on this episode, Lisa?
Gosh, there are so many things about this episode that I like. I love Maybourne and Jack together, and I love both the characters independently. I love them together. It starts out really promising for me, and then I don't know. I just don't love it. There's so many problems once they're on the planet for me about the paranoia, the plant, the realization that it's the plant causing the paranoia, him shooting Maybourne. I don't know. And then back home, you have Carter mad, which of course she should be because of her neglect of her weapon, which that doesn't seem like her. I don't know. It was so close to being a really good episode for me, but and I thought watching it again now, maybe I just, didn't fully appreciate it 20 years ago, but it's still something missing. And I'm okay not watching it again.
What about you, Victor?
Yeah, I really like this episode. This is, I think, one of my favorites. And not just because it's like a Maybourne heavy episode, but because of the way things progress through it. So we start off starting with the previously on, and we get kind of like a summary of Jack and Maybourne's bromance there, including, which becomes important later on, all the times Jack threatened to shoot Maybourne. And so that becomes, I like how they specifically included those because that becomes significant later on. And then, it's Maybourne being, sneaky and gaming the system, first appearing pathetic and I just need a pardon, I'll give you what you need. And then his whole plan is to get to this planet and then get to the alien utopia, and it's revealed he's never stepped through the Stargate before. And so it's kind of a lot of nice things there. And then the episode starts to turn when they do become increasingly, even on the planet, they have some good times and a couple of laughs, but then they get increasingly mistrustful of each other. And there's some subtle things in the writing and the direction that I thought were really effective. We'll get to it, but as the paranoia sets in and they're really not trusting each other, Maybourne's taking the weapons and run off somewhere, and Jack's trying to track him down. And then all out of nowhere, this pig, this boar comes charging at the camera, and you're like, okay, is Jack hallucinating now? What's up with this? He shoots at the pig, that he hits Maybourne, who's behind the pig, and you're like, well, was the pig Maybourne? You're trying to piece it together because why is there this pig on this plant? And then, there's some things they do with the color grading and the lighting. Tom McBeath looks incredibly, increasingly more and more like disheveled and like haggard and stuff as he goes through the episode and gets, more and more crazy and stuff. And so I really like this. And then back on Earth, Sam is, getting increasingly agitated and angry and finally reaches a breaking point when a very nice scene that she has there with Teal'c. So, I mean, from a character like episode, I really like this. There's a lot of like really interesting things going on visually too that I liked as well.
I really wanted to like this episode because it is a Maybourne and Jack episode, and I like a lot of the parts with it, but it just felt very disjointed to me, like plot wise. Like I feel like it front loads a lot of the plot, and then you just kind of get Jack and Maybourne hanging out on the planet, which I think works for this kind of story, like people slowly going crazy and under extreme isolation and survival scenarios. But I feel like they didn't really show enough of that, because it was basically just them hanging out by the river and they're getting along somewhat, and then it just gets worse and worse, but you don't really see a lot of their struggle for survival. Like they could have done more with that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing takes place over the course of 4 weeks, so you have to compress that down quite a bit.
Yeah,
we do see glimpses of it where Maybourne's like, I heard people running around, and is getting kind of itchy and stuff. I think it would have been more effective if they didn't have, I mean, you need it because, that's the rest of your cast and they need something to do. But like if it had just been just Jack and Maybourne for like, 38 minutes of the 42-minute episode. But Carter does get some pretty good moments in this, and so does Teal'c. And we get to see Dr. Lee again, who I always like to see. So I can understand why they did what they did, but I thought the progression of, Maybourne's insanity and Jack's too, kind of, because he does eat the weed that makes you paranoid and psychotic. Don't do weed. It is the not so subtle message here, but it does, because he's eating it too. So you're wondering, like, why isn't it affecting him the way it does? But then, I like the props on the planet. Granted, it's hard to tell how long they've been there because there's still, burlap fabric and stuff that hasn't completely decayed and stuff. But he finds like this interesting kind of like calendar map book, which is round and kind of has pages that fold out. And then from that, I like where he's going around and like counting the skeletons to see who died where. And then he finds the little Goa'uld skeleton, which I thought was a really cool prop. It looked just like this weird, like dinosaur bone skeleton thing. So, and he pieces it together. So I thought, all without saying a word, there's no like, like 8 skeletons here and 4 over here. A Goa'uld? He doesn't say any of that. It's just him doing it while they're playing like the creepy, music in the background and stuff. And it's not our normal Stargate music either. It's different music. So I like that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have felt more cohesive if we weren't cutting back to the rest of the characters of the SGC. It would have helped with the feeling of like claustrophobia that I feel like they were trying to go for. But when you cut back to, all right, here's the other characters doing their stuff, it kind of breaks that tension.
And I still got confused. So you can explain. So Jack ate the arugula, and you saw him starting to get paranoid too. But yet he was lucid enough to figure it out, stop eating the arugula, and it's all okay. I guess that's where I got lost.
Yeah.
Like, so the color changed, showing the paranoia, like the color of the screen. But again, so everybody on that planet who's ever been there has died from eating the arugula and killing each other. And Maybourne is going crazy, but Jack is like, no, I figured it out.
Well, I don't know if he
and was
had
there
more...
a pig?
Yeah, there was a pig. Yeah, because both Jack and Maybourne saw it. So I mean, I think Jack maybe had more rations that he was eating and didn't dive into the arugula as much, or he's just more in control. And maybe it takes longer than 4 weeks to like go completely crazy, because even Maybourne was lucid enough to set the tripwire, he said, for the pig, not for Jack. So he was just, maybe hearing and itching things, but he didn't like go right out and murder Jack. Like he's like, I'm going to just go away and catch a pig to eat.
So that's where I got confused. I was like, was there a pig, or was were we seeing that Jack saw a pig, but it was really Maybourne? See, I got I was
that's
like,
what I like.
what
That's why I like when the
doing?
pig came out. You're like, what pig? Like, what's this pig doing here? And then he shoots, and then Maybourne goes, ow, and you're like, oh no, was Maybourne the pig?
Yeah.
And then it turns out, no, Maybourne's like, I set the tripwire because Jack is, trips over the tripwire, blows up the grenade, which, sends shrapnel into his leg. So he's not doing so great either.
Yeah. But Maybourne had said he'd been seeing things and hearing things. So I thought, was there ever a pig? Or was that all product of their hallucinations and their paranoia?
I guess he was hearing a pig running around the camp, and that contributed to it, Yeah. So Jack shoots Maybourne once first by accident, and then, when they get back to the camp and Jack's trying to explain, but Maybourne now is completely crazy because he's been shot, and so Jack has to shoot him again. Yeah, which he threatened to do. So I like how they play the clips of him just talking about how he wanted to badly he wants to shoot Maybourne, and then at the end he's like, "Well, I got to shoot you," and Maybourne's like twice.
They do a lot. It's a lot of foreshadowing they have to do. We got all the foreshadowing with him shooting Maybourne, and then you get the foreshadowing of the pig with the hot dogs at the beginning of the episode. So
that's right. Yeah, it's a circle of life.
Yep.
And watching Tom McBeath eat the huge. Do you see how big a bite of hot dog he shoved in his mouth with the bun?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good scene to start it off, and and very good. And then it's clear that they're friends. And then at the end, Jack does save Maybourne's life. Mm-hmm. And then instead of turning him back over to the authorities on Earth, says the toker will drop you off on some nice planet and you get your retirement there. Mm-hmm. Which he's going to have to explain. Maybe he'll just say Maybourne just ran into the water and that was the last of it. But watching this again, I had remembered it as the water, I think, was what was, which would make more sense. There would be a parasite in the water. The whole thing with the Goa'uld bringing a weed to wipe out Utopia. What was their plan? Why would I know.
And then why did they eat it?
Yeah. Or why did they drop it off and then run away? They can't get back or have a mothership pick them up or something and then come back when everybody's dead. That part didn't make any sense, but I guess Robert C. Cooper doesn't like arugula, and this was his big stand.
It'll destroy the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole thing with the weed should have been dropped, in my opinion, because you could have done this exact same plot and just had it be he's getting paranoid because they're stuck on a planet without a lot to eat, and Maybourne's already not the most stable guy. Yeah. You could have had all of this without any of the plant, and the whole thing with you just brought up with Lisa with what is their end goal bringing it. The Goa'uld have a tried and true method of taking over planets, and if this is a bunch of utopian hippies living in a commune, is that really going to pose an issue to the Goa'uld? Do they need to have everybody kill each other? They could just shoot them. I mean,
especially it's supposed to be a place where once they go there, they never leave.
Yeah.
So what's the why are they? Why do they have no technology?
Yeah.
Which is what they're attracted to, or hosts. So what's the problem?
Yeah. They get space madness.
I wanted to like it. I got confused. I was so busy thinking about what are they trying to do that I couldn't just appreciate it,
I don't think it's explicit in this episode, but I think the space utopia, the commune, is designed to help advanced people go and then finish the last few steps of ascension to become, ascended beings. Because they kind of they revisit this in Atlantis. They have a very similar thing where there's a one-way portal to a location. And the whole point of going there is to ascend ultimately. And so it's like an ascension training ground. And so I think this is kind of, what that was supposed to be. The Furlings built this to help, ancients and other beings go there and basically finish off what they need to, their last of their detachments before they can ascend. And so maybe that's why the Goa'uld wanted to wipe them out, is because they didn't want any more ascended beings running around.
I guess, but they don't really mention that all in the episode. So within the context of this story, it doesn't make any sense. And even then, fly by the moon and drop a bomb on it. There you go.
Bomb it from the air.
Well, I guess unless in the past, it was heavily defended by the Furlings or something, there was a reason they couldn't do that. But
yeah, well, as we saw when we get the voice of like, oh, whenever the Tok'ra could spare a ship, which Earth has a ship, but whatever. When the Tok'ra they just forgot about the Prometheus or something. Although Maybourne does mention it, but anyways, it's like when the Tok'ra go to like scan the planet, they're like, they just dial in and they're like, yep, scan the planet. No human life signs. Like, we're leaving now. And it's like, did you bother to, like, you were there, did you bother to scan the almost planet-sized moon that's like right next to the planet? Nope. Like, didn't ask me to scan the moon, just asked me to scan the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, a moon that can support human life. I don't know. Like in your picture there behind you. Like, it's that close. Hello? You had to fly probably between the moon and the planet? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe their scanners on their ship are like the garden hose thing. You got the two settings. You got like the narrow beam and then you got the wide beam, and they just had it set on narrow.
Well, I mean, if that's like the like level of like completeness that Goa'ulds normally bring to like scanning planets, I can kind of, accept that the Goa'uld didn't know that the colony was like on the very nearby moon.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I also would assume that the Tok'ra, they've been around for a long time, so they would probably say, hey, this is one of those portals where you would go to the commune to ascend that the ancients had. Why don't you check the moon?
Perfect opportunity for Jacob to show up, right? With Selmak, with the oldest and wisest of the Tok'ra, to say like, oh, wait, we've heard of this. I know it was a vehicle for Jack and Maybourne to be bros. I know that.
Yeah.
I just, so much to wish for.
Yeah, I can accept that the Tok'ra, because like if you were like the Nox, Furlings, Ancients, and Asgard, you wouldn't want the Goa'uld, even the Tok'ra, to know about your secret ascension grounds or whatever, your secret space utopia. But so that's all what's going. I did like the way. So Jack finally gets to go fishing again, because that's kind of where he starts off at his fishing cabin. But he's rigged up like this little fishing line, and he's there like fishing in the lake on the planet. He's like, oh, they're down there, all right. And Maybourne just like grabs an explosive and throws it in, and detonates it, and all these little fish come bubbling up. He's like, I gotta eat, Jack. I need meat. And he's. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I like Jack. That's what did he say? That's so wrong. Or I love that. Yeah. I think that's illegal, by the way. Just don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it unless you're on an alien planet and your survival depends upon it. And you have a thermal detonator in your pocket or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the Department of Rivers and Wildlife or whatever is going to have jurisdiction here.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, like Sam is like going into like beast mode about, finding Jack, and Dr. Lee's there, and he's been there a week, and he's packing up, and because he hasn't found anything, and he's packing up, and Sam's like, excuse me, I don't see Colonel O'Neil here. Do you see Colonel O'Neil here?
Yeah.
And he's like, and Dr. Lee makes he's supposed to be kind of antagonistic, but he makes a good point. He's like, yes, Major, like talk to General Hammond. If General Hammond tells me to come back here, I will, but until that time, I mean, there's nothing to find here, and we're going home.
Yeah, and part of me feels like the way they portrayed Carter kind of went over the top, and then part of me feels like it was more real life, because they purposely didn't give Maybourne any weapons, and then I don't know, that whole thing just felt a little much. So if I were Carter at that point, I'd be pretty ticked off too that I let myself, lower my guard enough to let him steal, and then Jack goes missing again. How many times is this now?
Right. And this is on top of Daniel already being gone, which he mentions.
Yeah. Yeah. So she goes into full on words I'm not going to say or here, but like that kind of mode with everybody yelling and upset and demanding and all the things. I mean, we're talking about a language they've never seen before, technology they've never seen. Mm-hmm. And she's like, why don't you have it fixed in a week, and what's going on? And so I like the scene with Teal'c because it kind of gave you that underlying emotion of what was going on with her. That there was this real emotional upset, and that's what was driving her craziness to drive everybody else crazy. course, you could also look at it from a shipper angle, that
Yeah.
she lost Jack again, 100 days, and then this one.
So the scene is Sam is kind of hiding from everyone to cry in the girls' locker room because she's the only female on the base. And Teal'c comes in, and then the only awkward thing is like Teal'c needs to explain why he's in the women's locker room.
Yeah.
Like it's like nowadays he wouldn't need to, but then I guess he had to. And so he comes in and says like, "You are the only one here and you're fully clothed. So it's okay that I'm here." And then basically, which the scene would have been a lot more effective if there like were fewer words and he just, holds her and stuff as she cries and stuff.
Yeah.
But we had to get our Teal'cisms in somehow, but yeah. So I like that scene as well, and all hope is lost. And then, they're sitting in good, like this is a very dark episode in that it's very dark and dimly lit.
Yeah.
They're all sitting in, their little office, and the only light is coming from like the computer monitors, and Teal'c's just rewinding the tape and playing it back. And then she's like, "Wait a minute, what's that on the tape? It's a moon." Oh my gosh. I'm stupid. Yeah. And then they have the Tok'ra fly by again, and they're like, oh, you wanted us to scan the moon too. Okay.
Yeah. You got to wrap it up in a little bow.
Yeah.
Like usual. But
yeah. And speaking of wrapping things up, when they thought, season 6 was going to be it, so they needed to do their final Maybourne story. Mm-hmm. And I'm just reading right now, they actually wanted to kill him off at the end of this. Mm-hmm. But too many people.
I'm glad they didn't.
Me neither. Yeah. Too many people on the staff apparently liked the character, which is good. And I think he gets one more episode if not.
Yeah. Tom McBeath has a great episode.
Yeah.
Not for a few more seasons, but he does come back for kind of an epic role.
Yeah.
Nice. I hope he's like the leader of some sort of tribe on a planet or something. Like,
what? Stop it. What?
You could write for Stargate. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, did I guess it?
Close, I think. I haven't seen that episode
it's
probably
close.
in about 15 years, but yeah.
Nice.
But
awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing him as like a tribal king or something on a planet, because I think that's what Maybourne deserves at this point. He's been through enough.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably suffered more than I don't know, maybe one of the main cats like Daniel died in
Chief O'Brien.
Yeah, he is. He's no, but he's more like the Garrick of the show,
He is, yeah.
And Garrick went through a lot. And
you know what I just realized? We saw Siler, and he did not get injured, did he? Or carry a wrench or anything?
No, I don't. Yeah.
Didn't we see him with the UAV?
Oh, yeah.
Like
he may have been setting that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
He trips and falls off camera. Let's just go with that. Sprains his ankle. Yeah, I don't know. I think my biggest problem is just the pacing of the episode and the way it's edited, but I get for television, you got to do it that way. It just kept making me think of the movie The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but
it's a good one, and it's kind of similar kind of story about, paranoia and isolation. But yeah, I wish that Stargate had like director's cuts of episodes, and you could get extra scenes and stuff, and just have the part with them on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they, like I mentioned, they did a really good job kind of with like making the alien planet look like creepy and deserted, because they were just walking through the woods, and all of a sudden there's like this weird Blair Witch looking like wood sculpture just in the middle of the woods before they even get to the village, and it's like got weird ropes and stuff hanging off of it, and it's just made out of sticks, and you're like, what's that? Like, I thought this was supposed to be Utopia, and this looks like some sort of like horror movie
sacrificial tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a gravel pit either, so
that's true.
That was nice.
No, and we got the furlings.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah,
but I mean, and I love that Jack talked about fuzzy little, what did he say? Like fuzzy little creatures, and Jonas is like, "Oh, you've met them?" And he's like, "No, but obviously they're furry. Their name is furlings."
Furlings, yeah.
They're probably like 12-foot tall lizards with spikes.
We'll
never know.
Would be epic.
Yeah. That's one thing I hope they never do in the new show, because I feel like we're probably going to get that because TV shows feel the need to explain every reference in their older iterations nowadays. But
yeah,
please don't show the furlings ever.
You mean they don't look like Ewoks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, here's my headcanon. Sasquatch is a furling, and that's why Sasquatch are interdimensional beings.
Oh yeah. They're the last of the 5 or 4 races, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe Chewbacca's a furling, and there's a get a Stargate
crossover.
Star Wars crossover.
There you go. It could work. Could work.
Yeah. I think my other biggest qualm with this episode, I'm really not trying to just tear it apart because I liked parts of it, but I think that Sam came across as too incompetent as a leader. Like they kind of leaned heavily into the emotional woman stereotype, and so I wasn't a huge fan of that. I really like the scene, like you mentioned, Victor, with Teal'c, but I feel like they could have shown her being a bit more competent and in charge because we've seen her be that way before.
Yeah. I mean, last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many episodes have we had where O'Neil is missing or doing something else or whatever, and she's running the team? And so suddenly it has felt like a throwback to her character in 100 Days, which was season 3.
Yeah.
Where he's on the planet with the woman, remember? And she's upset. So,
the puzzle of looking at the videotape and seeing the moon.
Well, and then figuring out that like the little,
that's true. Yeah.
device had 2 circles on it.
Dude, were you not waiting for Jonas to be the one? Jonas had nothing to do. This was the perfect thing for him to be like, wait, is that a moon on the TV screen? And like, look at the remote. Is that, wait. Just kind of like him looking up at how did you get the Stargate in here?
Yeah.
It's the same kind of reference. I was waiting for it to be him.
The way the promotions work, they probably promote like the leader of SG-2 to be the leader of SG-1, which would leave a vacancy for the leader in SG-2.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonas could probably like lead his own SG team at that point with Jack out of the picture. I don't know. I don't know how eager he was to get that. No.
True.
No, I'm sure that wasn't it.
And they did mention that SG-1, that Hammond was already looking for a new leader for SG-1, which I thought was just a little sideline there. But I mean, it's been a month and Hammond's like, yeah, we're done.
The longest I'll wait is 100 days and we're about halfway there. So
better get those resumes in.
Yep.
But was it Daniel that went missing and they were like, everybody just went back to work and like, I'm sure he'll show up soon. Remember? When was that?
He went missing a couple times. He turned invisible.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. And they just like cleaned out his house,
Crystal Skull, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he's there and they're all like, meh.
Whatever.
Jack goes missing for like 30 minutes and, everyone's freaking out.
I think Jack has more potential to cause damage, though. So maybe that's what they're worried about.
Maybe so. And why do when you zat Jack? Why when? Okay, Carter is zatted first, and she goes down. Jack is zatted and pops right back up and like tackles Maybourne, and then Carter is still zatted on the ground when Jonas and Teal'c show up.
And when she wakes up, she's like, ugh. We've established, though, that Jack can take a zat because he's probably been zatted like 8 or 9 times by now.
Maybe more, yeah.
Yeah, and
he's
I think it has.
To it.
Yeah, you tend to develop an immunity. Plus, like maybe it's based on like body mass or something.
Yeah. Okay, maybe. I thought, really?
Yeah.
Because when I thought initially that like it missed him narrowly. And he like ducked, but I went back and watched it because he mentions it to Maybourne and he's like, "You zatted me," and he actually hits him, and apparently it had no effect.
He's just really special that way.
It's like shooting a bear with the 22. You just make it really mad.
Yeah, if it even notices.
Yeah. I've never tried that, and I don't plan to. So.
Let us know how it goes.
Don't do that. Don't fish with dynamite.
Yeah.
Don't blow up pigs with grenades. Don't shoot your friends.
Hunt your bacon and cook it too.
Don't do weed. There's a lot of messages.
Do arugula.
Arugula.
I think this is one of those after school special episodes, right?
There's a lot of lessons here. Yeah.
Make sure you always check the moon when you misplace something.
Yep.
That's the real message here.
Have we done that one before?
Oh, where they get lost? I'm trying to remember with like Brief Candle and 100 Days where like why they couldn't find him.
100 Days was the meteor hit the Stargate and it
that's right. It was buried.
So it was buried. But I was just thinking we've had something before where there wasn't. Oh, it was the heat on that planet. Carter got stuck on a second moon. A second sun came up, and she was the one with Madrona with the weather device. And
oh, okay.
I was thinking y'all need to pay attention a little bit more to these things.
They should have it should be like a flow chart at this point. Like, did you check the moon?
Yeah.
If not, check the moon.
Is there a second sun? Okay. What about,
Did you look in the dimensional mirror? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Has anyone been touching the dimensional mirror? Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Do we have any fun alternate language titles for this episode, Victor?
Not for this one. No, it was all Paradise Lost, which I guess is
John Milton.
Universal, universal enough, So Paradis perdu in French, but
nice.
That's all we get.
Awesome. Did you have any other thoughts on this episode?
No, I like it. Give it a watch. It's pretty effective. It's a good, solid Maybourne episode, and there's precious few of those.
True.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Yeah. I want to know what everyone else thinks about it, because it seems like me and Lisa were not too keen on it, but it's one of Victor's favorites. So let us know what y'all think at our Discord at sqpn.com/discord. And before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate, including Mark L., John K., Chris, Joseph F., and Ronald S. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give, and be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can find the video versions at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. To find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send us feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. And you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com, and you can follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. And we'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the next episode of SG-1, Metamorphosis. Until then, Lisa Jones, thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Stargate.
Thanks, Jack.
And Victor Lambs, thank you too.
Thanks, Jack. Well, thanks for the beer. Nothing I like more than a good wiener.
No comment. Once again, I'm Jack Baruzzini.
From the show.
Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to do that one.